T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
How about that, everybody? Welcome to the RP Show on a Monday. You're going to see a very special road trip edition of the program. But we're still live on the Game Plus television network across Canada, 32 U.S. states. It's your boy RP here. And today, we're going to run the gamut. Winnipeg Blue Bombers great. Troy Westwood's going to be joining us in hour two. And we'll be talking NFL with him, whatever CFL news there is, and some NHL too. But I'm very pleased to welcome my boy, the Scruff Dog. Mitchell Scruffy Blair's going to ride shotgun with us here in hour one. Hey, Scruffy, how are you, my boy?
I'm good. Yourself? Looks like
I'm
you've
good.
got yourself some different surroundings this morning.
Yes, I am in Palm Springs, California for just a couple of hours. And like two
Ooh, look
hours
at
after
you.
today's show, yeah, I'll be jumping on the plane heading back to South Florida. But I was here in the beautiful Coachella Valley for the wedding of Darren and Leon. I keep saying Leon. Darren did not marry Leon, he married Leanne DuPont on Sunday. And we had a big time. A lot of sports people here, a lot of Saskatchewan people here. We've had a big time, Mitch. Justin Dunk of 3downnation.com was here, is here, spent some time with him last night. He came out with a big CFL scoop this morning. So I've had a good time. I was able to mix some hockey in. I'd like to sprinkle some of those stories as we go along. How was your weekend, by the way?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Enjoyed JD on the CBC coverage of the Vanier Cup. Tough game for the U of S Huskies, but
Yeah.
they're no stranger to losing when it comes to the Vanier Cup. Sadly for that program, which is one of the top programs in U Sports. Watched the Oilers beat the Panthers on Saturday night. That was nice. I had texted you late last week before I knew that you were heading to California to say make sure you're nice to Stauffer, Michaels, and the boys, but you didn't see them. And then, of course, the Seahawks won yesterday. So it was a good sports weekend. And Michigan won in football. And now they can just go and hammer the you-know-what out of Ohio State again next weekend.
Mitch comes out just dropping bombs at everybody. Well, let's get into it. I didn't bring my horn. I didn't bring my sponsor sheets. Just trust me, or we're gonna get into the quick six show. Yeah, the quick six step. I'll say this: I sat with Rod Smith at the wedding last night. He's the brother of longtime Rams offensive coordinator Bernie Schmidt. And I said, listen, where we come from, you're either a Rams guy or you're a Huskies guy. There's no in between. So there's Scruffy
Yep.
taking his shot at the Huskies right there. So congratulations to the Montreal Carabins for winning the Vanier Cup on Saturday, 30-16 over Saskatchewan. It was a tough game for the Huskies, of course, and a tough time. And then the Oilers beating the Panthers. Let's move on. The big story coming out of Sunday and the weekend, as far as I'm concerned, Mitch, is the NFL. So a couple things that I have open the show here. Browns rookie
Yep.
Shitter Sanders passing for 209 yards and a touchdown in his NFL starting debut. Myles Garrett had 3 of Cleveland's 10 sacks in a 24-10 Browns victory at Vegas. Patrick Mahomes threw for a season-high 352 yards. Kareem Hunt ran for 104 and a tud. And Harrison Butker's 5th field goal of the game gave Kansas City a 23-20 comeback win over Indy. And Brandon Aubrey kicked a 42-yard field goal as time expired after Dak Prescott rallied Dallas from a 21-point deficit. And the Cowboys beat Philadelphia 24-21 in a mistake-filled thriller. Those are just some of my takeaways from Week 12. I will say this, on a Sunday morning in Coachella Valley, Palm Springs, California, it's so much fun because everybody's wearing their gear. I saw Bears fans, Packers fans, Vikings fans. I didn't see any Cowboys fans. I might today. But it's just fun. NFL weekends are fun. You mentioned your Seahawks winning. What were your takeaways from Week 12?
Well, I laugh because, Shador Sanders' humility is never a part of his game. Uh, Shador, can I just remind you that you beat the Las Vegas Raiders? You beat arguably the worst team in the NFL. So, you know what? When you can do that against the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Rams, maybe 25 other teams in the NFL, then we can talk. And I found it interesting that Kevin Stefanski did not give Shador a glowing endorsement after, nor would he name him the starting quarterback for next week's game. And then Shador's like, I've been what they've been looking for. Really? Well, good for you. Because you know what? You might be one and done. Other takeaways from this weekend, good football all around, a lot of entertaining games again. And my, I guess, biggest takeaway, Roddy, we can talk all we want about the Kansas City Chiefs and how they're done, but until there is an X by their name, they're not done. And they showed that yesterday. The Colts probably should have won that game, but I don't know what Indy did in the second half, but they sure didn't do what they were doing in the first half. And give Patrick Mahomes and that bunch credit because they found a way like they always do. Much like the Patriots used to do when TB12 was quarterback.
Well, yeah, now they've won 9 in a row. So, Hank, we'll come back on all of this. I want to move along to point 2 of the Quick Six Show topics here in the warm-up. Got to get our hockey in. Point 2, Rasmus Andersson had 3 assists as the Calgary Flames pushed their win streak, longest winning streak of the season, to 3 games with a 5-2 victory over the Vancouver Canucks. The loss dropped Vancouver's record to 3-7-1 at home this season. Our poll question today for EMJ Marketing is the Flames season salvageable? I'll just tell you 75% of respondents saying, no, it's not. Macklin Celebrini scored his team-leading 14th goal of the season, and the San Jose Sharks beat the Boston Bruins 3-1, and Cale Makar scored the winner in Colorado's 1-0 win over Chicago. The Avs have won 9 in a row. The Blackhawks have lost 3 straight. So before we talk about the Flames salvaging their season, Mitch, are we seeing some teams come back down to earth, i.e. the Blackhawks, the Habs, the Penguins, all these teams that just were meteors out of the gate are all struggling right now?
Yes and no. Let's remember, Chicago was playing the best team in the NHL yesterday, and they lost 1-0. Utah has come back to earth. Montreal is coming back to earth, but they've got a lot of injuries right now. And let's not forget the Winnipeg Jets have lost their first 2 games without Connor Hellebuck in goal. So, excuse me. So, yeah,
right.
I think that we're starting to see some things level out, but I think there's reasons behind that.
Pump Jacks brings you hour 1 of the RP show. Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jacks Cathedral in Regina, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. We do have breaking CFL news today. We're just scratching the surface on the NFL. I've got a lot of topics to get to here in the National Hockey League, some of which I've just thrown out, like are some teams crashing back to earth here. So we'll be right back, everybody. We do have everything else operational. The text line, 902-518-3033 is the number to reach me here in Palm Springs, or the YouTube chat as well. We got a lot of comments there. We'll be back after this opening timeout. You're watching the warm-up here, everybody, on the Game Plus television network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
You have a vision. A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Rod and Scruffy with you on a Monday, brand new episode 1624 of the RP Show. Don't adjust your sets. I'm in Palm Springs, California, where I was enjoying the DuPont wedding this weekend. Scruffy is in the Queen City. We're not going to have enough time to get to everything I want to with Scruffy here, but I'll just say this, point three of the quick six show topics. The Toronto Raptors are back in action tonight, playing host to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA. Raptors extended their win streak to 7 games with a 119-109 win over the Brooklyn Nets Sunday. Also, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups pleaded not guilty to charges he profited from rigged poker games involving several mafia figures and another former NBA player. I'm just bringing you the news that went down here this morning, Mitchell. And from the audience, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he says, it's a winter wonderland in Calgary today. Scott in Vancouver says, is there a world where the Panthers can beat the 49ers tonight? Ryan, the Cardinal Ryan in upstate New York says, good day, Rod Squad. He's going to be on the show here on Wednesday. Jason in Red Deer says, Bedard and Celebrini are as advertised, it seems. Okay, and I want to just walk this back a little bit. I mentioned I went to the hockey game. Did I mention that? I went to the Calgary Wranglers and the Coachella Valley Firebirds here yesterday.
I saw your video. Saw your video of a pretty good scrap.
100,000 views already of the fight. And yeah. Where do I start on that? I want to thank the Coachella Valley Firebirds, by the way, for opening their doors to me, bringing me in. It was amazing. Grant Fear does the television color commentary for the Firebirds, so it was nice to see the man affectionately known as Coco, the 5-time Stanley Cup winner. You probably knew that Fear was here as the Oiler fan that you are. Am I right?
I knew he was doing one of the teams in that league, but I will be honest, I thought it was the Vegas team in Henderson and not Coachella Valley.
Okay. Well, I'll tell these stories a little later on about the last time I actually spent time with Grant Fuhr. But I don't know. I'm not going to feel bad about this. But Friday night, a bunch of the wedding party and family that I was here for this wedding, the DuPont family, went to the Coachella Valley Firebirds game. I said, what'd you guys pay for tickets? Because I think we all like to ask those questions, right? They said $150 each. I'm like, what? I'm like, what did you get with that? Oh, a seat. That can't be right. So I'm looking up the tickets for the game yesterday. $63, Mitch, the cheapest for an American Hockey League game, to $250, the most expensive. So I'm like, well, I'm going to fire a shot in the dark here. And I sent a text to Evan Pivnik, the voice of the Firebirds PR guy. I said, hey, I'm in town. Can I get a pass for this? He goes, not only can we get you a pass, we'll get you a meal ticket, parking pass, and all. They rolled out the red carpet. So I thank you, Coachella Valley Firebirds, for that. But bro, do you not feel that's a little pricey? Like, I know people here are rich, but what the hell?
I don't know what it's like in other American Hockey League arenas, Rod, so I can't really comment on that. When you want to talk about price of games, you know what it's like in Regina. There are a lot of Regina Pats fans that say it's way too much to go to a hockey game at the Brandt Center compared to going to Moose Jaw or Saskatoon or whatever. They do have a legitimate complaint in my mind, but the crowd support seems to have been better before Christmas. Of course, the Pats are out in their West Coast trip right now because they've a major agriculture show that's taken over their rink. But ticket prices, you're going to get that argument no matter where you are, Rod. You know what it's like in the CFL. It's just, what do you feel is right? So.
Yeah, well, and by the way, the fight that Mitch is referencing was Caden Hamill of Coachella Valley versus Alex Gallant of the Calgary Wranglers. It's been viewed 100,000 times already since I posted it 12 hours ago. And so it's there's the pub from my social media. The hell of a fight went down. Some people said that's hard to watch. So
were those two are those two enforcers?
Yeah,
they are. Okay.
They're already talking about the rematch already. People that know are talking about the rematch when these next two teams get together. And sure, the typical comments are coming in from people about, oh, you're promoting violence in hockey. Yes, I am. I like fighting in hockey, so if you don't like it, unfollow me.
And by the way, I watched that video. There were a couple people that shot that video because I've seen it in a couple of different ones, including yours. It didn't seem to be like there was a lot of booing when that happened, Rod. No, you were there. Did people get up and walk out in disgust? Because that must have been what all the noise was all about.
Well, it's funny because my sponsor, Bob, who I talk to every day, he's like, what was the crowd? It sounded packed in there. I said it was probably about 40% full, but they went nuts. Which, by the way, I'll just say this about the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Because I've never been here before. I really like it, but it's a way older community. I thought Florida was old people. We're young in Florida compared to here. But they've never had a team of their own. So the Coachella Valley Firebirds are the team of Palm Desert, Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage. So there's a lot of people that don't know hockey, but they just go to the games and have a great time because this is their team. And they didn't shy away from the fighting last night either. So anyways, Jason in Red Deer says, geez, I thought $30 to go to a Red Deer Rebels game was steep. Jeff in Calgary says, I can watch Coachella play in Calgary for $70 in row 2. Insane pricing. Okay, well, that is what it is. This is where we are. Jenna checks in. She says, good morning from Southern California. Hey, Jenna. I'm in Southern California. Come over and say hi. Reg Dunlop writes in. He says, which fight? Reg, go to my Twitter, @Rod Pedersen. It's pinned to the very top, the fight in the American Hockey League game. I filmed it here yesterday in Palm Desert. Okay, oh my God, Mitch. We got a little off topic, but that's okay. I want to say this about the Bears. I have a few NFL notes here. You see the Bears might win the NFC North?
No, they're not.
They could. Look at their record.
Who have the Bears played this year?
Doesn't matter. So they beat Pittsburgh yesterday.
That's a fair point. The Eagles are going to demolish them on Friday.
So you're not a believer in the Chicago Bears?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I brought that up because the turnaround, we can't discount the turnaround under Ben Johnson. You can't.
Which I think we knew was coming.
Did we? When's the last time the Bears had a turnaround under anybody?
Caleb Williams needed an offensive mind to help guide him. And while Caleb Williams has been better, he hasn't been great. But the Bears aren't going anywhere. The Packers and Lions will finish ahead of the Bears when all is said and done.
Okay, well, what if they claim a wild card spot, which they're certainly in position to do? My point on this is the turnaround under Ben Johnson doesn't do anything to dispel the notion that if you fire your coach, you've got a chance at turning your team around. Because I don't know about you, but I hate when coaches get fired. I just hate it. I mean, not just because a lot of them are my friends. And you understand that owners don't like to fire coaches because they don't like to pay people to do nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just look at some of these other The fact that and who knows how far it'll go. The fact of the matter is they'll be in the playoffs. I mean, this morning the Giants fired their defensive coordinator. It's just fire somebody, fire somebody, fire somebody. I feel that it's outrageous. The Bears are proving maybe it's not, is my point.
Jacksonville could be the same thing.
Yeah. Yes. And frankly, the Colts with Shane Steichen and the Patriots to get their hand right. Well, the quarterback did it. Yes. Yes. Well, the quarterback helps. So you were obviously always a believer in Caleb Williams, but I just look at Chicago and say it's been a turnstile of quarterbacks there, Justin Fields being the latest. So you think this turnaround is here to stay or not for the Bears?
I think they're going to be a better team than what they've been the last number of years, Rod. And obviously, when you start getting some talent to work around Caleb Williams, and that's fine. They've got themselves a nice young running back in that Munnin guy. Roman Dunze is a receiver they took in the second round of the draft, or no, first round of the draft. Their defense needs some work. What they need to do is find a way to protect Caleb Williams, give him a little bit more time in the pocket, and the way you do that is you hire or you draft a couple of stud O-linemen or find them in free agency. And we always know in the NCAA there are some big boys out there that can really play at the next level. So I think it's up to the scouting staff to maybe try and find a little bit of ways to protect Caleb Williams and maybe give him a little bit more help, maybe on the defensive side of the ball as well.
By the way, talking NFL here, we'll push way more NFL talk in hour 2. Jenna writes in, Jenna has now seen the video of the fight I posted from the American Hockey League game here yesterday. Jenna goes, that guy was landing those hits. Yes, as people have said, It's tough to watch. So if you don't have the stomach for it, don't go to my social media and look at the fight. But hang on, if I had my bell, I would ring it. Ring. Justin Dunk didn't mention this at the wedding we attended last night. We sat right beside each other. A couple of breaking news items from the Canadian Football League. The biggest one, Dunk broke the news. The Toronto Argonauts have been denied permission, or that's probably not right to say. Corey Mace, the Grey Cup winning head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, has turned down the opportunity to interview for the Toronto Argonauts' vacant head coaching job. And to be honest, you could have asked me, Corey Mace, save you the dime. He was never going to leave Saskatchewan. That's the scoop. And it's a scoop. It's news. Nothing on Duncan3downnation.com for reporting that. But is it news? It is news, I guess.
I think it's news in the fact, like, I'd love to have been in the room when the Argos decided, hey, let's call Corey Mace and see if he might be interested in leaving Saskatchewan and coming to Toronto. Do you think there's a possible chance of that? Like, what a waste of a phone call.
That's what I'm saying. Save the dime.
On the flip side, I'd love to be, Corey Mace is sitting at home last night watching some football, visiting with family, maybe, talking about what happened a week ago, and all of a sudden the phone rings. You're who? What? Is this a prank call? Like, what's going on? Yeah, no, go away. I don't know. I'm confused on that one, but whatever.
Hey, pinball. Look at the calendar. It's not April 1st.
Yep.
I got to write that down. Hang on. Well, anyways, it's a prevailing feeling about Saskatchewan, specifically coming out of Toronto. Trust me, I got offered a job by TSN back in the day. And you probably know this as you're one of my closest friends. And they said, you're in Saskatchewan. You must be dying to get out of there. That just pissed me off. And the conversation went down from there. But that's how they view it. And I'm like, how do you people not know that if you're going to be in the CFL, Saskatchewan is the place that you want to be? That has not changed. As a matter of fact, for Corey Mace, he's made it again. He's made Saskatchewan great again. He's not leaving.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so Corey Mace, and it's funny because somebody asked me on the weekend, so how much of a grace period does Corey Mace and Jeremy O'Day have now that they've won?
A week.
And I said, you know what? I said 3 years minimum.
No.
That's what
History
he said in Saskatchewan. If they start 2-4 next year, pitchforks are out.
The longest of the leash is a year and a half. I mean, now you're getting into my wheelhouse, which is also your wheelhouse. John Gregor was fired a year and a half after winning the Grey Cup in '89. Corey Chamberlain was fired on the nose a year and a half after winning the Grey Cup in 2013. Yep. So congratulations, Corey. You've got a year and a half. And the question is, because this came up at the wedding last night. By the way, there was only 2 people that traveled within America to go to that wedding, me and somebody else. The rest were all Canadians. So the talk was the Blue Jays, the CFL, and it was just that. They're like, what are the Rough Riders' chances of repeating? And I'm like, well, I don't know. The quarterback isn't even under contract, I don't think. I mean, this is a different era. When we had Ray Elgard
talk
on
to
last.
Me in April when training camp starts.
Yeah. We'll continue this. We'll have to continue this after the break because we're out of time here. But when like Elgard, 14 seasons in Sask. That don't happen anymore. It just doesn't.
No.
So we'll be back in a moment, everybody. Get your questions and comments in. 902-518-3033. I got a new text line, so can we try it out? Text me. 902-518-3033. We're coming to you from Palm Springs, and we'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Oh my God, I knew it would go far too fast, and the comments coming in from the viewers, Mitchell, are so great. I would save them until after you're gone in the next segment, but I want to read them to you. A couple of quick texts. Laverne from the Frontier City writes in 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. Laverne says, speaking about firing, you've probably heard Chip Kelly was released by the Las Vegas Raiders as their offensive coordinator. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, how about those Cowboys? I agree. But here's a good one from Winnipeg. It says, civilization will be living in Mars by the time the Riders catch the Blue Bombers. I was listening to something the other day. And probably in Grey Cups. I think the Bombers have...
Who cares?
I'm just saying. I don't even want to talk about that. I heard this the other day. Mitch, remember when we were growing up? There was all the stories of the Mars visits to Canada, to Earth, the spaceships and the Martians coming off and just looking around.
Yep.
Like, we haven't heard a report of that in years. And somebody said, they're not coming back anymore. They looked around and said, we checked it out. They're idiots. I can't remember who it was.
There's maybe some credence in that, Roddy.
We don't need to go back.
More in the country that you're living than mine, but I can maybe see that.
I laughed so hard. We don't need to investigate anymore.
It's a good point. We came, we saw, we don't like what we're seeing, we filed the report back.
Hey, we're good. They're not a threat. Okay.
Yeah, when they say take me to your leader, yeah, I don't think we want to do that.
Oh, I didn't expect to take us to your leader. Oh my God. Okay, enough. Okay, just as ridiculous in my mind. I saw a comment on social media that was Scott Wedgwood. He got the shutty for Colorado yesterday. Scott Wedgwood, the goalie for the Avalanche, blanking Chicago. People are saying maybe he should be in the conversation for the Olympics in goal for Team Canada. Stop. Thoughts?
Rod? Well, let's face the facts here, kids. There aren't a lot of great Canadian goaltenders in the NHL. It's Jordan Binnington and what?
Sam Montembeault.
I'm sorry, I'm not sold on Aiden Hill. I'm not sold on Darcy Kemper. I'm not sold on Samuel Montembeault. I'm not sold on Stuart Skinner. Like, can we trade Connor Bedard for Jake Ottinger? Like, you can't do that, but...
And by the way, who's got the...
If to get hurt before the Olympics, God help us.
When he's not playing very well. Look what the Blues are doing. But when do they and how are they officially announcing Canada's roster, by the way? Because I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know when the final date is. I don't know how many players they put on the team. I know the big debate right now is, do you put a guy like Tom Wilson on the team to sort of not be a policeman out there, but just sort of be a guy that can maybe control the Kachucks if you need to have that happen? Just be a guy that's going to be physical out there. And if so, could that mean that Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini doesn't make it? I think you need a little bit of grit out there. And I wouldn't be against Tom Wilson being on the team, but I also don't want Tom Wilson to go overboard and take a 5-minute major that could cost you. That's a very fine line to walk.
Who the hell was it? I think it was Matthew Barnaby was on this show a couple of weeks ago. I said, who's the toughest guy in the NHL right now? He said Tom Wilson. I'm like,
yep.
This is the Olympics. I don't think we need to be taking the toughest player in the NHL with us to Italy, to be honest. And somebody, if you know, has the answer, please write. Oh, Terry, thank you. Terry from Calgary writes, and he says December 31st. Rod, thank you, Terry, the lawyer from Calgary. Should be Christmas Eve. What a Christmas gift that would be. But what I enjoy sitting around the hockey people, and I was with them yesterday here in Palm Desert at the rink. Consider the bigger ice that they're going to have in Italy. You don't want to take a goon, right?
I
you probably
classify Tom Wilson as a goon. I'd classify him as
anymore?
I don't even know if the word enforcer is the right word in today's NHL. I just call Tom Wilson a good, physical, complete forward.
Okay. Well, fair. But is it idiotic of me to say, let's just take the Four Nations face-off roster and take it to Italy? I feel like that's good enough for me.
No,
And again,
I don't think you can do that. You always got to make changes from year to year.
it's been less than a year by the time they take to the ice. It's the team that won it all. And by the way, you say handling the Kachucks. Brandon Hagel handled Matthew Tkachuk. He hurt him and basically hasn't played since. Yeah, he went to the Stanley Cup final and won, but he wasn't the same. He was not the same. Brandon Hagel could handle Matthew Tkachuk. We don't need to bring in a 6'5" meathead.
Unless John Cooper has a part to play in it, I don't think Brandon Hagel and Anthony Cirelli are going to be on that team this year. And if it wasn't for the fact that he was already named to it, I love the guy because of what he did in junior. But I don't know if Braden Point would be on this team with the season he's had.
And apparently he's not playing tonight for Tampa Bay. They got Philadelphia in town. From WHL 1986, watching on YouTube, writes in, he says, Tom Wilson is an excellent skater. I know I am too hard on... I like Tom Wilson. I'm just saying we can't have everybody. You want Bedard? You want Celebrini? Yep. You're already not going to be able to have Sam Bennett. And we just had this talk on the Panthers, our Cats and Bolts podcast last week. We can't take everybody. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, there are people... Rod, it's going to be like it is every year with the World Junior team. There are going to be guys that are going to be upset if Mark Scheifele doesn't make it, if Nick Suzuki doesn't make it. We saw last year at the Four Nations there were guys that were upset because this player didn't make it or that player didn't make it. It's just the way it is. And it creates debate, which is good for shows like this. There are people in Toronto that want John Tavares on the team. John Tavares is too slow for the Olympics. Sorry. Even if I was a Leafs fan, there were people talking about Zach Hyman being on the team. No, Zach Hyman's just getting back into the lineup.
I need to pause you, and we're running out of time. Real quick, number one, has anybody brought up in Leaf land that they suck and Mitch Marner's gone? Has anybody made that connection yet? Because a pro scout did here last night.
I've been telling you that since day one, Rod.
But has anybody in Toronto made that? Not you, the
they're starting to. They are starting to. Yeah, the guys on Overdrive have been sort of letting it sort of simmer, but now it's coming up.
Okay, and how about Calgary? I'm seeing Don Maloney's ass is on fire for something he said, the president of hockey operations with the Flames. I'm trying to ignore everything that's going on there.
Yeah, he said something about he's not into a full-fledged rebuild. I didn't catch the whole thing because I just saw it just before we started this morning. But I think he said something about he's not into a full-fledged rebuild, so what you have is what you get.
You're saying that, not him. Yes, you paraphrasing what he said.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and take a look at what exactly he said. But it sounded, though, as if he was very combative when it was asked about rebuilding this team through trades and stuff like that. Because obviously Rasmus Anderson wants out. There's talk that Kadri wants out. Blake Coleman. They've never really gotten what they want from Huberdeau. They've got a lot of problems in Calgary, obviously, and they're hoping that, like a lot of other teams, that the ping pong ball falls their way and Gavin McKenna ends up returning to Southern Alberta. But we're a long ways between that and then.
Yeah, and what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? Oh my goodness. Well,
here's one for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be in my. Well, you know what? I'm going to save it because I'll put it in my next Saturday column for you.
That's at rodpedersen.com. You can find it, everybody. Scruffy's award-winning column. Okay, well, I'll let you go. This goes far, far too fast. We covered most of what I wanted to. Not everything, but thank you, Mitchell.
All right,
we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, don't go anywhere just yet. And as far as everybody else goes, we'll be coming right back with a sports update after this. We'll go through the NFL headlines of the day. There are quite a few of them. We're live on the Game Plus television network. We'll be going to Nevada television in an hour or two. Scruff, you got to join me on Nevada TV, maybe later this week. We'll talk. Okay, you ready to make your Nevada debut in Sin City?
Okay. Do that.
Okay, we got a lot to get to. We'll be back after this timeout. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, we're back at it, everybody. We're coming to you from my hotel in Palm Springs, California, out here for Darren Moose DuPont's wedding, which was on Sunday. It's been a wonderful weekend. The second this show's over, I'm jumping on the bird and heading back to South Florida. But we've got a lot of, this is the Canadian hour of the program, a lot of Canadian sports news for you here on Game Plus Television. I will tell you that hour one of the show is brought to you by, in part by, Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. So what's the news? Justin Dunk, whom I was just with last night at Moose's wedding, sat beside him for the supper, which was amazing, by the way. Beef. He's reporting that Corey Mace, the head coach of the Grey Cup winning Saskatchewan Roughriders, has declined the opportunity to interview with the Toronto Argonauts for their vacant head coaching position. Fake Gainer is watching on Game Plus Television. He tweets us at Rod Pedersen Show, and he says, this is like me asking Shania Twain out for coffee. You know what the answer is going to be, but you got to ask anyway. Okay. Shoot your shot, basically, is what you're saying. The Argos shot their shot. And Corey Mace isn't going anywhere. Because when times are good in Saskatchewan, there's nowhere else you want to be. And I mentioned this to Scruffy earlier on. And I don't mind saying this. TSN knows it. They called me however many years ago. It doesn't matter. But they're like, Rod, this is TSN. I was just silent. And they said, hello? I'm like, yeah. This is what, as God is my witness, this is how it went. And they said, why the pause? And I said, I've been waiting for this call for 20 years, but it feels like there's a catch. And they're like, well, how would you like to da, 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 da. And wasn't really the job that I had envisioned. And they said, well, you're in Saskatchewan. You must be dying to get out of there. And then I just got really angry because at that point in my life, I was not interested to go. Riders were at the peak of rider pride, which is where they are now. And that's thanks to Corey Mace. He's not leaving. But again, as Fake Gainer says, you got to ask. But yeah, it's if you're going to be in the CFL, that's the place you want to be. Corey Mace knows that. But I got a lot of questions to ask him. Saturday night, we're going to be doing a banquet together in my hometown, along with Lorne Mulliken, the former head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. Man, are we going to have a lot to talk about Saturday night. Get your tickets if you haven't already. You can DM me for ticket information. Corey Mace, Lorne Mulliken, and me. And then the next weekend after that, I'll be in Lanigan with Riders offensive coordinator Mark Mueller and alum Luke Mullender. Anyways, thank you, Fake Gainer. That's funny with what you said. Now, having said all that, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and he says, remember, look when the Riders tried to get Huff. LOL. Yeah, that's a little different. That was when they hired Chris Jones December 2015. They did approach John Huffnagel. He wasn't interested, but he was making $700,000 running the Calgary Stampeders with a beautiful home in Cochrane. He was on top of the world in Calgary, so it's a little different, but it is what it is. Anyways, here's your news on a Monday, brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Headlines. Your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need, Ultimate Fan Zone. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The New York Giants have fired defensive coordinator Shane Bowen. The move was made by interim coach Mike Kafka after the team lost its sixth consecutive game on Sunday to drop to 2-10. The Giants have allowed over 27 points a game and have the second worst run defense in the NFL. Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield has a sprained left shoulder. Baker was injured in the first half of the Bucs' 37-7 loss to the Rams Sunday. Bucs coach Todd Bowles says Mayfield will have an MRI on Monday. And then with the news that Laverne and Swift Current was referring to, the Las Vegas Raiders have fired offensive coordinator Chip Kelly after another poor offensive performance. The Raiders lost 24-10 to Cleveland Sunday, allowing 10 sacks of Geno Smith. Coach Pete Carroll announced Kelly's dismissal just hours after the game. Carroll, in his first year with the Raiders, did not immediately name a new coordinator. And that is the sports update on this Monday, all coming from the NFL. Proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. So it is just you and me to the top of the hour. I'm more than happy with that. Sorry for bumping that broadcast functionality here. So, yeah, just a few minutes left here. 902-518-3033. Get the text line rolling, everybody, and make sure that it's working. It's new for me, but it is working. We've had a few messages that have come in. What do we got here? Rick writes in. He is watching in Martinsville. He said, the Olympics have NHL-sized rinks, Rod, do they not? Stone is too slow, as is Tavares. Wilson would be a great ad, in my opinion. I don't think the Olympics have NHL ice, unless that's a change. I mean, that's why the Saddle Dome ice, back when it was built for the 88 Olympics, was of Olympic size. That's why they call it that, 200 by 100. I don't think that's changed. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's changed. Tony is watching in Saskatoon. He writes in, he says, "Hello, Rod. Sounds like you are having an awesome time in California. When you say Grey Cup winning Saskatchewan Roughriders, it just sounds right and sounds oh so good. Safe travels home, good sir." Signed, Tony in Saskatoon. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. And I do want to throw this out. I mean, I could mention it next hour too, but I want to thank the Coachella Valley Firebirds for rolling out the red carpet for me yesterday. They really did, the American Hockey League team. That fight between Caden Hamill of the Coachella Valley and Alex Gallant of the Calgary Wranglers has been viewed 35,000 more times just since we've been on the air here in hour one of the RP show. 135,000 views so far, just on Instagram, let alone Twitter. And it was a hell of a fight. And then Hamill skated around the ice celebrating like Angelo Mosca in an old pro wrestling skit. But anyways, if you have problems with fighting in hockey and us glorifying it or promoting it, unfollow me. But I did want to tell this story. I didn't want to bother Grant Fuhr. So I'll tell you a funny story. It was January of 2019. Long time ago now, I guess. I was up in Saskatoon doing an event for the Kinsman dinner. And it was the night of goalies, celebration of goalies. Every night should celebrate goalies. But that night they were doing it formally. It was Glenn Hull, Mr. Goalie, Bernie Perrant, Grant Fuhr, Martin Brodeur, and Eddie Belfour. 5 of them. And I had the occasion to spend the weekend with all of them. It was a dream come true. Like, imagine having the opportunity to pull Grant Fuhr aside and just saying, so you have a career goals against average of like close to 4.00. How do you feel about that? And he's like, what? Who cares? I got 5 Stanley Cups. I'm in the Hall of Fame. Pretty much the way that he answered it, which was a tremendous answer by Grant Fuhr. And then, I reverted into being a fan because I'm fanboy around Grant Fuhr, which is totally fine. But I said, what are you doing now, Grant? And he says, I'm running a golf course in Palm Springs. And I said, oh, well, I see that you coached with the Prince George Cougars and the Arizona or Phoenix Coyotes. Do you have any interest in going back into coaching? He goes, I'm running a golf course in Palm Springs. Okay. He's not interested getting back into coaching. And so anyway, and then seeing him yesterday on the air, the game was on the local NBC affiliate, all suited and booted. And it was also on the radio because as I walked around the arena, the Acrisure Arena here in Palm Desert, they had it on all the speakers. He was doing a fantastic job of doing color commentary. I mean, I don't know Grant Fuhr that well, but I know him well enough to know he's that kind of guy that would be a success at anything that he does. And that's why, yeah, sometimes you get annoyed at the questions, and I became the annoying person asking the questions. You know what I mean? But that's okay. I think Grant Fuhr is over it. And, I mean, it's been 7 seasons since I was the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And that reminds me, last night at the wedding, Darren's wedding, he didn't tell me the chairman of the Roughriders was going to be there at the wedding. I'm not sure Darren even knew. The guy came over, introduced himself. Doug Hodson, chairman of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Oh, hi, Doug. We'd never met. And somebody happened to be standing there. They said, how long have you been with the Roughriders, Doug? He goes, 7 years. I'm like, well, that's exactly how long I've been gone. That's how I didn't know the guy. But he brought along 10 of those champion hats that the Roughriders got and handed them out to the wedding party and his table. And it was a lot of fun. Carlos writes in from Indianapolis. He says, if I was a hockey guy, I might understand the culture of fighting in hockey. Every other sport you get in a fight, you're looking at hefty fines and lengthy suspensions at the minimum. Yep. Terry the lawyer says, it will be NHL size ice, I hear, Rod. Okay, well, thank you. We'll go by that. It would be very easily findable. Okay, we're going to have to carry this over into hour 2. We were talking about the Flames, and I guess Don Maloney, the president of hockey, stirred everybody up there. They're going to be stirred up in Calgary no matter what because their team's last place. And that's the poll question. Is their season salvageable? 75% of people saying no, it's not salvageable. There's nothing Don Maloney could have said that wasn't going to piss people off. And it's unfortunate because they're coming through Sunrise on Friday, and I'm not going to be there because I'll be coming back to Saskatchewan for those speaking events. Maybe it's a good thing that I won't. It's very tough times around the Saddle Dome these days. Okay, we'll be coming back with Hour 2. Troy Westwood, Blue Bombers great, talking NFL and CFL and some NHL with us right after this brief timeout.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's the RP Show, everybody, coming to you from a very special location. In a moment, you're going to see where. In Hour 2, we go across Nevada here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We're in the U.S. Southwest, I can tell you that. And we're also, as always, across Canada on the Game Plus Television Network and 32 U.S. states. Ta-da! You want to guess where I am? Can you tell? Do you recognize that palm tree? I'm in Coachella Valley, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, California, here for the wedding on Sunday of our close friend, compadre, and the founder of this show, Darren Moose DuPont, who is now a married man. He and Leanne tied the knot on Sunday at the Desert Willow Golf Resort. We had such a great time, and I'm doing the program here today from my Palm Springs hotel and then racing to the airport and flying back to South Florida. So bear with me. It's this little like we're camping, but it's been going great. Scruffy was with us in hour one. We went through a lot of topics. We'll go through them again with some breaking news here on this Monday, episode number 1624 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you on Game Plus T and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. The guest coming up in not that long from now is our good friend Troy Westwood. Okay. He is a Hall of Fame kicker from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Canadian Football League fame. Augustana University grad from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's going to join us to talk NFL. As a matter of fact, that's a good place to end. Whatever else comes up, probably some NHL too, because as Troy Westwood will tell you, I believe he said he's hockey first, or at the very least, if he's not hockey first, it's like 1A, 1B, and he played junior hockey, which is good enough for me. But as I left my horn at home, we start with, I guess, breaking news. It's not the big story, but I want to tell you the news out of New York today. Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups has pleaded not guilty to charges that he profited from rigged poker games involving several mafia figures and another former NBA player. The Hall of Famer was arraigned today in a federal court in New York City. Billups was arguably the most prominent name among more than 30 charged in last month's sprawling federal takedown of illegal gambling operations linked to professional sports. Let's call it a sting. They don't call it a sting anymore, but I feel like it was a sting. So that's the one interesting thing about being out here on the West Coast. Are you with me? So much happens before you even open your eyes. It's such a difference from being out on the East Coast where I normally live. We set the pace over there. And over here on the West, it's so laid back. And somebody asked earlier, how do you like Palm Desert? I'm like, I love it. I've never been here before. Been to Southern California many times, but not here. Takeaways? I thought we had old people in Florida. We do, but we at least have some young people. That's not the case here in the Palm Desert area, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's a lot of golfing and coffee drinking going on. That's why it suits Moose so fine, but I need a little more action. I will say this, if we don't have time here, I do want to pass along, because I have the opportunity, another thank you. It's the first time we've said it on Nevada television here, to the Coachella Valley Firebirds of the American Hockey League, who rolled out the red carpet to me on Sunday. They really did, with the media passes, meal, parking, all the rest. And part of the hockey game, which they lost 5-4 to the Calgary Wranglers in overtime, was the fight of the year. Caden Hamill of the Coachella Valley Firebirds versus Alex Gallant of the Calgary Wranglers. It's now been viewed into the hundreds of thousands of times. We'll probably hit the millions from my social media channels by the end of the day. It's kind of hard to watch, but I'll tell you right now, if you don't like that I like fighting in hockey and promote it, just unfollow me or don't watch the show. That's all. We can't all have the same opinions. 902-518-3033. I got a new text line here. Mandy writes in, she's watching in Edmonton. She says, congratulations to Darren. Oh, absolutely. And by the way, Mandy, you might want to go back and rewind, because I told far more stories about the wedding last hour. But yeah, he's hitched. He's no longer the moose on the loose. Now, we got to the breaking news, talked about the weekend, going to Moose's wedding here in Palm Springs area. Now to the big news, which what everybody's talking about as far as I'm concerned on both sides of the border. Cleveland Browns rookie Shedeur Sanders passed for 209 yards and a touchdown in his NFL starting debut, and Myles Garrett had 3 of Cleveland's 10 sacks in a 24-10 victory over Las Vegas, the 5th straight loss for the Raiders. That was just, I'll come back on that. Patrick Mahomes, in the game of the day, going in, and it proved to be that, threw for a season-high 352 yards. Kareem Hunt ran for 104 and a tug, And Harrison Butker's fifth field goal of the game gave Kansas City a come-from-behind 23-20 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. That's what the viewers, you people, voted was the game of the week, and it went to overtime and the Chiefs won. And then in Dallas, frankly, was right when the wedding was going on. So my phone's going off, ding, 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 about what the Cowboys were doing. Brandon Aubrey kicked a 42-yard field goal as time expired after Dak Prescott rallied the Cowboys back from 21 points down. And Dallas beat Philadelphia 24-21 in a mistake-filled thriller. But I said, you watch this show every day. Going into the weekend, I said, for the Cowboys, and I wrote about it in the weekend column, this is big boy football for the Cowboys. If they win this one, they have a shot and they're in it. If they lose it, they're done. The Eagles are still going to win the NFC East. I still think they're the best team in football. But what did it show us? What I've been telling you all season long. The Cowboys should win every game that they play. And they beat the best team in the league yesterday. So they have life. But are we planning the parade? No. But I go back to this again. Yeah, just as far as the Dallas Cowboys go, they're a very frustrating team to be a fan of. But what I loved about being here in Palm Springs, of many things, was a Sunday morning of Week 12 in the NFL, and I'm down on what's the main Palm Canyon Road, I think is the main drag, the Vegas Strip of Palm Springs, and you got fans of every team. Packers fans, Vikings fans, obviously, Bears fans, Raiders fans. And it's the one thing about these tourist destinations. I love that people bring their gear if they're on vacation to celebrate their team. There was one Raiders team headquarters there. Oh my God, I'm sure they were selling a lot of booze by the time that game was over. But the Bears were winners. And I just look at the pundits. And I'm one of the many guys on this show that predicted that the Vegas Raiders were going to have a turnaround season. I don't want to say which Super Bowl winning vet came on this show and predicted a 12 or 13 win season for the Raiders. All it does is show you is that nobody totally knows what's going on and nobody can predict the future. I don't care who you are. And after the game, the Raiders fired Chip Kelly, which is another thing that doesn't necessarily make sense. I didn't see Chip Kelly out there being unable to defend Shedeur Sanders. I mean, the 10 sacks, you want to hang that on Chip Kelly? I don't know. Troy Westwood could probably speak to that a little better when he joins us next, the Hall of Fame kicker, an Augustana University vet. But you got to fire somebody. I mean, if you've watched this show enough, you've heard my stories. I know of teams where the owner or the president has walked into the coach's office or the GM's office and said, you need to fire somebody by the end of the day. I don't care who it is. And I feel like that's what happened in Vegas with the Raiders. But you want to talk about surprise teams. None of the pundits picked the Colts. Very few people picked the Denver Broncos. Only a few picked the New England Patriots, who have won now 9 in a row. And this would be probably a pretty good poll. And nobody picked the Bears, who are 8-3. Nobody. And last hour, Scruffy's still not sold about them. He thinks they're going to get killed here in Week 13. Black Friday game. Anyways, I just want to casually ask you this. This isn't the poll question, but I feel like it would be a good poll question. Who is the NFL Coach of the Year? And literally think about it right now. Would any of us be surprised if the Super Bowl matchup was the Eagles and the Chiefs? I don't think so. That's what Jim Barker predicted. But a far more salacious, thought-provoking question is not what's the Super Bowl matchup? Who should be the Coach of the Year? And to be honest, I'm kind of leaning towards Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. Everybody's saying, oh, it's the quarterback. And they got to work together. And Mike Vrabel in New England, look what they did with Drake May, who everybody was writing off last year. All of a sudden, maybe it's Vrabel. Maybe that'll be the poll question tomorrow. Can you people remind me of that? Because I'm going to move on here to the next point of the Quick Six Show Topics. The Quick Six Show Topics, point 2, dovetails into the poll question. Now, from the NHL on Sunday, Rasmus Andersson had 3 assists as the Calgary Flames pushed their longest winning streak of the season to 3 games with a 5-2 victory over the Vancouver Canucks. So, while the Flames, I believe, are still dead last in the standings, they've won 3 in a row. You got to think somebody within an organization is saying, maybe the season can be salvaged. So our poll question daily is brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau, which incidentally includes Troy Westwood, who's coming up next, and myself, along with Stu Grimson, Jim Barker, and a host of others. Rachel Homan. Can the Flames season be salvaged? 75% of you saying, no, it can't. And to be honest, dabbled in this a little bit last hour with Scruffy. Don Maloney, high up hockey executive with the Flames, met with the media on the weekend and just enraged their fan base. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, wrote in and said, I don't know what he said. I'm not listening to Don Maloney. The season's in the toilet. There's nothing he could have said to an enraged fan base that would have appeased them. Nothing. So he basically said they're not in a rebuild or they're half in a rebuild. I don't really know what he said. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Flames fans don't want to hear that. I'm like, what do they want to hear? And that's why I've talked very little about the Flames on the show this year, because it's just so depressing. And they're coming through Sunrise on Friday, but I'll be gone. I won't be around to watch them because they came through last spring. Everything was so positive. They were so close to making the playoffs. They ended with 96 points. And the attitude at that time was, hey, Flames are rebuilding. We got a new coach. We got a new GM. If you don't want to be here, there's the door. And less than a year later, I don't need to tell you, they're the last place team in the NHL. Guys won out. And it's just like, oh my God, how did this happen? And I don't think anybody knows. Anyways, Macklin Celebrini, as I continue with what happened in the NHL on Sunday, Macklin Celebrini scored his team-leading 14th goal of the season, and the San Jose Sharks beat the Boston Bruins 3-1. Cale Makar scored the winner in Colorado's 1-0 win over Chicago. The Avs have won 9 in a row, while the Blackhawks have lost 3 in a row. And it kind of has brought up this question, U.S. Thanksgiving, as we hockey people in Canada refer to it, because we celebrate Thanksgiving on the second weekend of October. They always say that's the cutoff line where the wheat separates from the chaff and you are what you are. And so are the Chicago Blackhawks who we thought they were, who I thought they were. Losers of 3 in a row. Again, Scruffy was with us last hour and he goes, wow, they were playing the best team in the NHL. Okay, fair. But 3 in a row is 3 in a row. And Chicago's going to be good. The question is, how long? Oh, and by the way, I see people have Connor Bedard's butt on fire over the fact that he turned down some autograph seekers outside the United Center on the weekend. Just so, the people that are posting this are Rudy Poos and nincompoops. And shame on them for posting it. But they trapped Connor. Why would you, by the way, film Connor Bedard being approached by autograph seekers if he didn't have a pretty good idea he was going to say no? They're just trying to make the kid look bad. But this isn't from what I haven't watched the video. I've seen the video. I didn't watch the video, if that makes sense. It's not some little kid standing there with snot running down his face, handing him a stick and a marker. It's grown men who everybody knows are going to turn around and sell it. It's where we are now, folks. It's been going on since Wendell Clark days. Wendell Clark got in the same trouble back when he played for not signing on the spot. You want his autograph, you got to pay for it. That's business. That's the way it is. It makes me sick that people are trying to make the kid look bad. Let me make my NHL picks before we go any further. Since we're on the NHL topic, Vegas is at Utah tonight. Weren't they just there? I'm going to take Vegas to win that game. Columbus Blue Jackets at Washington tonight. That's a sneaky good game. I'll take the Caps at home. Struggling St. Louis Blues at the New York Rangers. I'll take the Rangers to win in the Big Apple, even though they're off to their worst home start in franchise history. Tampa Bay home to Philadelphia. Braden Point not playing for the Lightning tonight, we understand. I'll still take the Bolts at home. Detroit Red Wings at the New Jersey Devils. That might be the game of the night. I'll take the Devils to win at home. I saw them last week in Sunrise. They're for real. Florida at Nashville tonight. The Cats facing their former coach, Andrew Brunette. Dad's trip for Florida. The boys are going to want to play well in front of their dads. So I'll take the Panthers. And the Ottawa Senators are at the Los Angeles Kings tonight. That's a long roadie for the Sens. I think I'll take the Kings to win at home. It's interesting that last year the Kings tied a franchise record for most home wins in franchise history, and doesn't seem like they're anywhere close to doing that. Anyways, that's our NHL picks tonight, brought to you proudly by CoolBet. Sign up at coolbet.com and they will match your welcome bet bonus up to $200. We'll be right back with Troy Westwood, everybody. Here you're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show. I'm going to have to ask you to help me out here for the next segment, and it's a long one, so we're trying to get a hold of our Troy Westwood, the Hall of Fame Winnipeg Blue Bombers kicker and Augustana University grad, and we haven't been able to get a hold of Troy. So that's fine because we have so many questions coming in from our viewers. And I'm going to ask you, please, whether it be through YouTube or the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. Fire as many questions as you can at me, because some of the questions are going to get downright ridiculous if you don't. So as I said, it was a wonderful NFL Sunday getting up here in Palm Springs. That's where I'm at, out here for Darren Moose DuPont's wedding, and going down for coffee Sunday morning and seeing all the folks strolling down Palm Canyon Road and hitting all the coffee trendy shops. By the way, it's a little more elite than what I'm used to. That's all I'm going to say. But pretty much every team represented. Jeff is watching in Toronto on YouTube. He writes in, he says, the NFL is wild this year. Nobody seems to separate themselves from the pack. Feels like all you have to do is make the playoffs to have a good chance this year. I would agree with that. Allie has checked in from Texas. Hello, Allie. It's a good time for you because we're going to talk hockey as well. She's the local Dallas Stars fan. We've been talking about the rosters for the Olympics, and I'm glad that people are starting to get interested in it. It's sort of like, as Foster Hewitt would say, Canada is, and hockey fans in the U.S. are excited about the Olympics. And we've put a lot of topics on the table here today. That's what we do. It's a coffee table discussion. Morning out here. Hey, it looks like we got Troy Westwood. Okay, we got him. All right, Westy. Anyways, what we've just deduced here today is that it's NHL-sized ice for the Olympics in Italy this year. Forever it was Olympic size, 200 feet by 100 feet, but now it's 200 by 85. And I guess this is the third straight Olympics that it will be. That will change how Canada does its roster and how all the teams will do their rosters. 12 teams, by the way, at the Olympics, not the 10 that we're used to for the World Juniors and various other international formats. Okay, there he is. Troy Westwood, we're live. You're looking gorgeous, buddy. How are you?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
Good. It's good to see you. Good to be seen. We're broadcasting from Palm Springs, California this weekend, or today, where I was for a wedding this weekend. Before we talk NFL, can I just extol your virtues? I heard from people that were at the CFL Legends Luncheon at Grey Cup, the alumni event, that you just knocked it out of the park, which I knew you would, but it never hurts to get a bouquet laid at your feet. How did you feel about it?
It was a lot of fun, actually. Like a lot of fun. And, sometimes, Rod, when I'm around situations like that are sort of like with the CFL, sorry, I'm having trouble with the camera here. I'll get this straightened out. But I just kind of forget of the association that I have with the league, even. Like it was so just, it seemed so large and awesome. It was just, I was like a kid, kind of, in a lot of ways.
I know.
Around that. So it was just a tremendous week and just a bunch of fun.
Yeah, well, I've emceed it. I go every year if I can. It's the best event at Grey Cup. But I'm just interested, why do you say it's like being a kid? Is it because all the older CFL guys are there? Like you're a fan again, or what?
Yeah, like man, I remember in my 17th year, I have a specific memory of in my 17th year in the leagues. I was sitting on the ground in our locker room. All the guys were in meetings. I was alone in the locker room, like often as a kicker, and it hit me about how, like, I couldn't believe that I was actually a member of the Blue Bombers. In my 17th year, I was just like, holy cow, this is so cool and incredible. And then when I was walking to the venue and going by all the flags representing the teams, and they had all the jerseys and stuff lined up, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then seeing all the alumni in there, and it's hard for me to believe that I'm a part of that in some way still, and just get taken aback as a kid and stuff, being a fan of the game and the league and so many of those players and stuff like that. It was just really cool.
Well, I just, again, want to pass along the kudos because it's always nice to hear. It's kind of a pressure-filled job to be up there in front of everybody, as fun as it is. So way to go for doing a great event. Right, listen, I know you like to talk hockey. Allie from Texas has showed up. She wants to talk hockey. But coming out of Week 12 in the NFL, still with a big Monday night game tonight, by the way, Carolina at San Fran. What did you enjoy about Sunday's games?
Oh, a bunch of things, man. I'm really, when TSN, the radio, left our market, I kind of got away from devouring daily sort of thing everything going on in sports at the level that we were at that time. But now my son's really into the NFL, so he's got me really plugged in and locked in. Maybe just all the different games, man, that were going on, and how I don't know that there's been an NFL season that I recall, Rod, where I said to my son, give me your top 5 teams right now. Like, there's just
Yes.
so much middle ground, it seems, right? Like, it's just like, holy cow, where are the great teams and who are the great teams? And some of the great teams are kind of hard to buy. Like, just how good are the Colts? Just how good are the Patriots? Yada yada. And like, I remember going into the weekend, I think it was the Chiefs, the Ravens, and one of the other heavyweights at the time going into the season. They weren't even in the playoffs before this weekend was coming around. So just watching the level of competition, and maybe some folks think it's that there's not enough greatness represented, because there's so much remarkable competition right now. But just right across the board, I'm just thrilled with the way things are sort of unfolding with the NFL season.
Oh, I got one for you, and I love talking about the mental side of the game with you because you made a career of it. You don't last if you're not mentally strong, especially at your position. And people are poo-pooing Shadur Sanders for his comments after the game, and he's like, "I'm what they've been looking for." I don't mind a brash guy. Like with JJ McCarthy in Minnesota, I've been watching all day on ESPN. They said his confidence is shot. It's the biggest thing in the game, especially at a quarterback, kicker. Doesn't matter really who you are, but it doesn't help that they're beating him up on ESPN all day. How are you on a brash player?
I'm okay with it, and certainly, hey, we grew up with Deion Sanders, right? So I'm okay with it. I watched. My son has been a fan of Travis Hunter and Sanders for the last few years, so we watched them quite a bit in Colorado. I thought Shadur was going to get overwhelmed by the Raiders yesterday. Going into I thought, man, a week of practice is going to do him no good at all, right? Like any of us that have been around the game a bit, it's not, you don't just have a week of practicing with the number ones and all of a sudden there's a fairy dust that's sprinkled and you have an understanding of what's going on. So I thought he was going to be in all kinds of trouble yesterday. I was taken aback growing up in a home, Rod, where it was a black and silver home that I grew up in around the house. So being back in the Kenny Stabler, John Madden type days, my dad a massive Raiders fan. I thought the Raiders were going to absolutely humiliate him for the most part yesterday, and I could not believe how inept the Raiders looked. They just looked
Yeah.
god awful, and how for them to allow 10 sacks by 8 different players. And Shador, he had that one nice long throw, a couple other situations that maybe could have helped to inflate his ultimate stats, but by and large he looked okay. And that the interception he threw was, you kind of wonder what in the world is that kid looking at, right? Trying to squeeze the ball in between 3 Raiders there, the interception he had, but he looked okay. But I think it was more like, and really, like, some folks, I'm taken aback this morning by the reflection there, like, just super high right now on Sanders, but he did an okay job. What really stood out was their defense and the fact that they don't need a whole lot to happen maybe from that quarterback position to win some games. And the Raiders are just horse crap. Like, oh my goodness, are they bad?
Well, and that's my question to you. I was talking about it just before you came on the air. Chip Kelly, as the offensive coordinator, fired right after the game. Do you think
Yeah.
he bore any mindful of the fact we have no idea what goes on inside an organization? We don't know. But was it a case of they just had to fire somebody, so they fired Chip, or did you think he deserved to be fired?
Well, we know the way things work in football, right? And pro sports. When something needs to happen, it's typically the head coach, and if they let the head coach to breathe a little bit while longer, which you're going to in that situation with Pete Carroll, somebody's head has got to roll at some point in time. So I'm not surprised by something so embarrassing to the organization. From the top down, it would have been, hey, someone's got to be thrown overboard here, sort of thing, and that's what we witnessed. But it was just, my goodness, they looked inept. Like, I don't know that we've seen a team, and against a team that's, their defense is spectacular, but you think that they could have caused some more trouble for the Browns during the game from a defensive standpoint, right? So they canned the OC, but even the defense didn't look all that. Like there was just nothing about them. They looked like kids in a playground and just lacking organization and all sorts of things. So you wonder what the future holds there, how long Pete Carroll is even going to be a part of the whole situation. But somebody's head's got to roll when you get humiliated like that.
It's funny you say that, by the way. When they hire Pete Carroll at 73, that's not a long-term plan. And you'd like to think they have a plan, but it's the Raiders. I don't know that they have a plan, Troy.
Yeah, and it starts with like you can't even put it on Geno Smith for crying out loud, because if you get sacked 10 times in a game, they can't do anything on either side of the ball. They are a long way away from being relevant. There's no question
Okay.
about that, right?
So if I have a kicker on, I got to ask you kicker questions. I got football people asking me because they think I know, which I don't. What's the deal with the long record-making kicks in the NFL? CFL aside, because I think you would agree it's a totally different thing. Why are we seeing super feats in the NFL this year from the kicking position?
Yeah, I have to say I don't understand it in a complete way, Rod. Like I don't. I get with evolution, and it's, there's going to be some level of bigger, faster, stronger, but this remarkable, the way that it's just kind of flexed here this year specifically is mind blowing, and I don't even know. I don't understand it. I know for sure that those, you see those balls that they're using, how they're almost black, like they almost don't look brown, they look black. So I would think that
Yeah.
they're really like whatever they're doing to work the balls in, the kicking ball specifically, they're doing a great job of it, because when an older, worn, worked in ball will travel way further than a brand new ball out of the bag sort of thing. So whatever they're doing to sort of, and it's not juicing the ball up like in baseball, but it's something along those lines, because you're allowed to work in the ball. So whatever they're doing, and there is a huge difference. We used to call them pumpkins in practice. If you got an old ball, it was just way more. It's more pliable. There's more bounce off of it. But overall, just the remarkable how like 58, 59 is nothing, or 62. It's just insane. And it's multiple things like that happening every week. Crazy.
It's so funny you referenced our age. I heard this term with football from a current college player. He goes, the balls are juiced. I'm like, don't say juiced. That's not, you can't say.
Yeah.
we just come from a different era, right?
Yeah. But
That's just
they are worked in, and like you can just see it in the richness of the color, the darkness of them, whatever it is that they're doing to them. And the guy, like in the old days, guys could put stuff on the ball, or would put stuff in the ball and put them in dryers and stuff like that. We could never even touch the balls back when I played, right? But then they started, like in the CFL, as an example. I know that they can manipulate the balls as much as they can within the rules that are allowed, and things like putting them in the dryer, and putting things on the surface of them and scrubbing them down and stuff like that. There's a process involved, and whatever that is, it's beyond me. I'm not in the locker room anymore, man, but man, they got it down pat.
Yeah, it's like, guys, just find another name. Just don't use the term juiced.
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions have come in. Brian in Edmonton says TB12 will be the GM next year for the Raiders. That's possible, but then he would have to give up his broadcasting gig for sure. Jason in Red Deer says, I feel for Pete Carroll. Jeff in Toronto says, I think they are doing something to the balls. Troy just mentioned it. And one more from your career before we switch to hockey. John in Winnipeg wants to know, Troy, what was the most difficult place to kick field goals in? Fans, wind conditions, etc.
It would surprise a lot of folks for me to give my opinion on it, because I think if back in my day at the old Winnipeg Stadium, with the wind in there, maybe all the kickers would say Winnipeg. Saskatchewan had more of a true. It'd be on the prairies for sure for most folks. Saskatchewan had a little bit more of a true north-south sort of a wind, in the more open sort of a stadium, but we had like this opening specifically in the north that created just some insane swirling stuff that you needed to be familiar with. So, the hardest with the conditions was probably Winnipeg. Where I struggled the most and where the biggest mental ordeal for me was in domes, if you can believe it. Like I hated kicking in the Sky Dome. The staleness of it.
Yeah.
It was just, and yeah, domes I hated. If I was outside in the elements, and the uglier, the more natural it felt to me, and the better. I was just because from Winnipeg on the prairies, when that wind is howling or there's sleet, snow, rain, whatever it might be, that felt more like home to me. Put me in a dome, and it's like I am in a foreign territory. I didn't like domes at all.
Yeah, no kickers did. I can't even tell. We were getting killed in BC one night in '99, and you played for Cal Murphy? You must have played for Cal at some
Oh yeah,
point.
yes sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cal says to, I don't know how I know that or why I was down, because I never forget seeing this. He says to Paul McCall, get in there and kick. And Paul's like, it's 63 yards. You know how Cal would say it. And he's like, just get in there and kick. Well, the thing died like with 20 yards to go. We didn't have a chance. Paul was mad because it hurt his average. He's a pro kicker. You get it. But anyways,
That's right.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers, great. And Augustana University alum Troy Westwood is with us here on Game Plus Television and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada. Hey, the Jets are 0-2 in life without Connor Hellebuck. This is going fast. We only got 2 minutes. How are you dealing with the fact that Hellebuck's hurt?
Well, when you're talking about the guy, the best goalie, arguably, certainly top three, top five in any year, when you're talking about losing that piece of the puzzle, there's no replacing that. So they're in trouble. And it's 4 to 6 weeks he's going to be out. And I heard some interviews earlier today with some of the Jets talking about, we all just kind of get to work together and sort of a synergistic sort of approach to it. I think that's way easier if you lose a top guy as a player who's out on the ice, in one of the defensive positions or as a forward. I think it's way easier to overcome that than lose an absolute stud that you have between the pipes. And there's no question, some teams have less of a gap between the one and the two in the pipes, but not here in Winnipeg, man. And Comrie is a great kid. Everybody loves him, but he does not bring anything to the table close to what Connor Hellebuck can bring to the table, man. So it's huge, and they're gonna battle. It's gonna be a battle for 4 to 6 weeks here, and the team's gonna have to play spectacularly well to not run into a bunch of trouble with not having Helly back there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's nobody's fault. These things happen.
Yeah.
You can't plan for it, right? So we'll see what happens. Troy, thanks for jumping out of the bullpen. This has been fantastic. Can we do it again soon? I really enjoyed it.
Please, anytime, Rod. Love chatting with you, my friend.
All right, our great friend Troy Westwood, Winnipeg Blue Bombers great, Augustana alum. We'll be back with a sports update coming back right after this, and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live across Nevada from Palm Springs here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show coming to you from beautiful Palm Springs, California. Just, 20 minutes left in the show, less than that, and I'll be jumping on the bird and heading back to South Florida, but only for a few more days. And then returning to Canada for some public speaking this weekend in the Great White North. If you have a chance, come out and watch Corey Mace, the head coach of the Grey Cup winning Saskatchewan Roughriders, former Chicago Blackhawks head coach Lorne Mulliken and I, Saturday night in Milestone, my hometown, and then the next weekend, December 6th, in Lanigan, Saskatchewan, with Cup winning offensive coordinator Mark Mueller and radio broadcaster and Rough Riders alumni Luke Mullender. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, from the audience, this has just been fantastic. Thank you for helping me out when we're sort of camping here out of my normal environs. But I think it's been a fantastic show, and thank you, producer Corey, for pulling it all off. Kirk is watching on the Game Plus TV network in Toronto. He says, "Hey, Rod, Palm Springs, the home of the legendary Rat Pack, Sinatra, Martin. I'll be honest, it was pretty cool to pull onto Frank Sinatra Drive, which is on the way to the hockey rink, the Acrisure Arena, which Vegas has a Frank Sinatra Drive too, and I'm pretty sure LA probably does as well. But anyways, yeah, the Rat Pack has a big imprint in this area. Regarding that hockey game that I went to Sunday, the fight now viewed hundreds of thousands of times from my social media. Go give us a follow. I put it on the Cats and Bolts podcast Instagram account, the Panthers and Lightning show that I do, but also the Rod Pedersen Show account. It's on there too. It was hard to watch. If you got a weak stomach, don't watch it. But if you like hockey fights, it's for you. Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat, and he writes in, he says, "Hey, RP, plenty of Western Hockey League representation in the AHL game in Palm Springs, on and off the ice." Oh yeah, don't get me started. I will say this for our viewers in Moose Jaw. It was great seeing Jagger Furcus, the Seattle Kraken prospect, running, or not running, but on the power play for Coachella Valley. Just a young kid, rookie in the Apple, in the A, and he's doing great things. I really, really, really enjoyed myself at the rink in Palm Desert. So thank you, Coachella Valley Firebirds. First class outfit there and a first class arena. So Allie stayed with us in Texas despite the football talk. Not that she doesn't like football, but she prefers hockey. And she says losing a goalie is about as bad as losing a starting quarterback. It is. And Winnipeg fans are very intelligent hockey fans, sports fans in general. It's not like they don't know this, but I'll just remind them that Connor Hellebuck being hurt isn't anybody's fault. I understand that they're 0-2. This is me looking at it from 30,000 feet. They're 0-2 without Hellebuck. It was going to be a drop-off no matter who the backup goalie was going to be. So it just happens to be Eric Comrie. They're going to have to find a new way to play. They're simply going to have to hold the fort until Connor Hellebuck comes back, and then they'll be fine. They're in a very tough Central Division in the National Hockey League, but they're a good enough team. We saw it last year with the Panthers. You don't need to burn yourself out trying to win a pennant. Where did it get the Jets last year? With a healthy Connor Hellebuck. Get him healthy, get into the playoffs because you're good enough, and you will be just fine. That's what I have to say about that. BW in Edmonton writes in, he says it's probably cheaper to fly to Florida than back to Canada instead of Palm Springs to Canada. Eh, Rod? I don't know. I never really compared. I will say this. I thought Moose's wedding was going to be in Toronto. Not that I have anything against Toronto, but then I looked at the invitation. I'm like, oh, it's in Palm Springs. Ta-da! I was pretty happy about that. Because I've never been here before. And I quite like it. Although it's a little sedentary for my liking. You know what I'm saying? There's not a whole lot going on. Putting a hockey team here was a very good idea. There's no doubt about that. There's not a lot else. I don't golf. And you can only go for coffee so much. Guy says to me last night at the wedding, I understand you don't golf. Nope. He goes, that's unfortunate. I said, for who? Not for me. I'm good. Golf, it's a disease. Okay. We'll be back with overtime. One more segment to go. Stick around, everybody. 902-518-3033. Get your text questions in and comments on everything we've been talking about today. It's been a great show. And we'll be right back here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and, of course, Cost Canada, of course, on the Game Plus TV network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody, for Overtime, proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. I see they have their day camps going on for kids now. You might want to check that out. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. All the information is on their social media handles. They do such a great job on Instagram, Overtime HL, and their Facebook page, Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Kids are driving you nuts. Great way to get them out of the house is a day camp. You know, when they have those teacher development days, I don't understand at school. But anyways, take the kids, drop them off at Overtime Hockey Lanes, and let them look after them for you for one low cost. Again, official partner of the RP show, Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. There are a few things to get to before we shut her down. I see Kevin the Medium has checked in. Kevin the Medium. Hola, Kev. He'll be with us on Thursday and Friday from the Hughes Sports Podcast, as we're wrapping up this broadcast today from Palm Springs, that if I don't say so myself, it's going quite well. I've quite enjoyed myself. I hope you all have as well. Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, time to get started on shoveling the 8 inches of snow we've got so far. Well, Tony, at least it's not 9. Right? BW writes in from Edmonton, trucking to Portal today. Drive safe. And be clear of those roads, or be safe on those wintry roads up there. Here's what's going on tonight. The San Francisco 49ers are set to host the Carolina Panthers in Monday Night Football action in the National Football League. The Niners coming off a 41-22 victory over Arizona last week and are third in the NFC West at 7-4. We're not even talking about the Panthers. Had written down surprise teams: Indy, Denver, New England, Chicago. How about the 6-5 Panthers? The door is wide open for them to win the NFC South now after Baker Mayfield was it dislocated his shoulder, separated his shoulder. Either way, the Bucs quarterback is going to miss some time after being hurt in LA yesterday. Talk about an under-the-radar team. And the only guy, I got to give him his props, to call for that was our friend Kenny Naguns from 806 Sports in Amarillo, Texas. We got to get Kenny on here again soon. And I got to get on his show again soon. Kenny Naguns from 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas. Oh, can I say this? While we have a minute and it's just me, means I can say whatever I want. I'm driving around in my rental car the other day here in Palm Springs. There's a country music radio station on 98.5 The Bull. Real country. Emma Langley. Have you people heard of Emma Langley? I had not. The song Choosing Texas? Oh my God. Hey, listen, Corey probably knows this, producer Corey. I don't know how many of the rest of you people know. I'm getting way off sports here, but that's okay. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. I used to be a country music DJ. Emma Langley, I'm like, what is this? This sounds like Tanya Tucker, 70s, 80s. It sounds like Charlie McLean. All of a sudden, I'd never heard of her before. And then the DJ comes on, 98.5 The Bull, and says that she won 3 awards last Wednesday at the Country Music Association Awards. I'm like, this is, and I had it on the station by accident. Happened to be a rental car. But as you can tell, it's not like I'm anti-country. I just don't search it out. Emma Langley. You got me, Emma. Oh, and what made me think of it? There's a line in there. He loved Amarillo by morning. I should have taken that as a warning. Producer Corey's laughing. Are you not a country fan, Corey? You don't know what you're missing. Anyways, here's a college football note for those that celebrate. Pittsburgh's upset win over Georgia Tech on Saturday blew up the ACC championship race. Entering the final weekend of the college football regular season, no team is ensured a spot in the conference title game. This is of the ACC. 6 teams are still mathematically alive. Virginia, Pittsburgh, SMU, Georgia Tech, Miami, and Duke. Other games from Saturday: Oregon beat USC in the only game Jim Barker said was important to follow. Ducks beat USC to solidify their playoff case. Oklahoma eked out a win over Missouri. Arch Manning had 6 touchdowns in a rout to the Razorbacks. I had friends at that game in Austin. Looked like a big time. Duke used a trick play to stun UNC. Michigan kept their playoff hopes alive with a win at Maryland. So we're getting to the fun time of the football season, again, in the college football vein. In a way, it's kind of hard to believe that the Canadian football season is over. But that's what happens when you start the season early. I'm fully a proponent of doing that. And now college football is center stage, and we're excited to follow the chase for the 12, which we'll know very shortly, the 12 spots. Tonight, Carolina at San Francisco, as I mentioned. In the NFL, did my NHL picks earlier in hour 1. The Vegas Golden Knights are on the road at Utah tonight, part of a 7-game NHL schedule. NBA features 10 tonight, including the Toronto Raptors, the division-leading Raptors. They're still not slowing down. Home to Cleveland. Miami Heat home to the Dallas Mavericks as part of that 10-game slate. So it's weird. We covered everything that we wanted to today, and you were a huge, huge part of it, everybody. So thanks for bearing with us as we were on the road with this one from Palm Springs, California, site of the DuPont wedding. One more time, for a final time, congratulations to Darren and Leanne. Thank you for inviting me out here to be part of your celebration. I'll be honest, I'll be back. I don't know when, but this entire community rolled out the red carpet for us here, the Rod Pedersen Show and me specifically. So thank you to the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Good luck with your season. And to everybody else, hit them straight and enjoy your coffee. We'll see you next time here from Palm Desert. Until then, jumping on the plane, heading back to South Florida. That's where we'll be broadcasting from tomorrow. Kevin Carius will be with us from Sports 1440 AM. And, of course, Scruffy with his, as always, delicious, but not necessarily always right, hot takes. You've been watching on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network across Nevada and across Canada and 32 U.S. states, part of the Anthem Sports and Entertainment umbrella, Game Plus TV. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Dad.